Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 was a hit when it came out, and since then it has always been regarded as the poster child of the entire Budokai trilogy. But did you know you probably never even played its full version? That's right, Budokai 3 has had several revisions over the years, and one of them, the rarest, is actually the best one, both for casual players and competitive ones alike. In this video I'll try to explain how many versions are out there, what the differences are between them, and which one is the best to try out. The very first instance of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 came out in North America on the 16th of November 2004, then in Australia on the 26th, and finally in Europe the 3rd of December. These three versions are all grouped up under the umbrella of the original Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, also known as vanilla versions. There is actually a distinction between these three, and more specifically between the 60 FPS versions, American and Australian, and the 50 FPS version, which is the European one, but more about that later. What we need to know is that Budokai 3 Vanilla is considered to be obsolete and uncompetitive by today's standards, due to several bugs and unintended features. However, you must know that Japan didn't receive Budokai 3 in 2004, but several months later, in February 2005. This delay wasn't due to a commercial reason, but to the fact that Budokai 3 still needed testing and lacked some content. These 4 months were spent fixing exactly that. Japanese Budokai 3 came out with a lot of bug fixes, quality of life improvements, and some new content. Namely, the option to switch between Japanese and English dub, plus 3 new costumes. Halo costume for Goku, Saiyan armor for Trunks, and King Piccolo skin for Piccolo. These costumes, however, are not unlocked by default. They must be unlocked by inputting a specific code in Dragon Arena mode. Needless to say, these codes do not work for Budokai 3 vanilla versions. As usual, Japanese players got the best deal, but this wouldn't be the case for long. In late 2005, the rest of the world could finally enjoy the improved versions of Budokai 3. Released as Greatest Hits in America and labeled as Collector's Edition in Europe, the improved versions of Budokai 3 finally hit the shelves for the entire world to see. People could finally play Budokai 3 with many bugs fixed and those 3 new costumes Japanese people had since the beginning of the year. I won't go into the finer details of the many minor fixes that these versions included, cause I already have another ongoing series about it that you can check out, links both in the description and on screen. Finally, near the end of 2012, Bandai Namco released an HD remaster of Budokai 3 included in the Budokai HD Collection, which as of today is the only way to play Budokai 3 with a widescreen patch on a more modern and powerful consoles. Thus, so far we've seen that Budokai 3 has basically been released 6 different times: American Vanilla Release, European Vanilla Release, Japanese Improved Release, American Greatest Hits, European Collector's Edition, and Budokai HD Collection. So, which one of these 6 is the best for competitive PvP? Surely enough, all the vanilla versions of Budokai 3 are already out of the picture, cause I just said they're considered obsolete and bugged. Of the remaining 3, it actually depends where you live. Of course, if you're Japanese, the only version good for you is the one released in Japan. The same can be said for Americans and Europeans. But wait, what about the HD remaster? Is it better or worse than the rest? Well, while the HD remaster is based off the American Greatest Hits version, so content-wise they are basically interchangeable, there is actually a technicality that separates them. The HD remaster runs on more powerful consoles, with a very stable 60 FPS rate, unlike its PS2 counterpart. Not to mention, faster loading times and native widescreen support. Really, the only reason you have left to play the original Greatest Hits version over the HD remaster is the host. The original soundtrack of Budokai 3 is just etched in my memory, and while the HD remaster isn't that bad, like many people say, it's still far behind the original. So the ranking is HD remaster, Greatest Hits, Collector Edition, Japanese release, American Vanilla, European Vanilla. Correct? Well, not exactly. Remember when I said we were going to come back to the 50 FPS thing? Now is the time. You see, the only version of Budokai 3 that runs at 50 FPS is the European one, and we already saw Europe got both the vanilla and collector's edition versions. The reason why this is such a big deal is that when the game runs at 50 FPS, several gaps mid-string disappear.
Let's go!
This, in turn, drastically improves the playability of several characters, shaking the original tier list quite a lot.
Come on! Don't toy with me! Get lost! Stay down! Get lost!
Not to mention, some unique controls can be performed exclusively on the 50 FPS versions of Budokai 3.
This is easy!
Once this is clear, we can finally rank the 6 versions of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 by their PvP playability: Collector's Edition, HD Remaster, Greatest Hits, Japanese Release, European Vanilla and American Vanilla. So, in short, get the European Special Edition. If you can't, emulate it. If you don't have a PC, get the HD Remaster. If you only have a PS2, then play the American Special Release. And if that fails too, play any vanilla version you can get hold of. Just know that you're not playing the competitive one used in tournaments. This concludes my brief video about the many different versions of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. I hope you found this interesting and instructive, and you finally learned why many different people play the same game, but it behaves slightly differently depending on where you play it. If that's the case, feel free to suggest more topics you'd like me to cover. Until then, have a nice day, and I'll see you all in my next video.